Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Giudetti's Garage. It is Monday, November 13th, 2023. Yeah, about 5 or 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks until Christmas. So keep that in mind. If you're going out shopping, you got about 5.5 weeks. I'm not much into that. I do contribute by donating funds for my wife to buy the things that are wanted. I generally stay in the background. Here you go. Here's something for you. And I'm usually as surprised as my kids. Whenever they open their presents, I'm like, oh, what'd you get? So don't hate me for that. I'm just not much of a Christmas present type of person. So anyway, it is again Monday, and I've been doing this live stream, I don't know, probably 2 years now. I still have a good time doing it. I try to go as long as I can. Usually it's an hour to an hour and a half. And normally what I'll find is my voice starts to fail and I just have to quit because it's just getting too rough. But I've been doing this and I appreciate everybody who has been continuing to come and be part of this. First thing I want to do, because I don't know if he'll watch it later or if he will be on at all, but if you saw the car in the thumbnail for the live stream tonight, that was Nick Moss. And Nick has been working on that car. He's been getting that car together. And apparently today's his birthday. So I'm going to give a shout out to Nick. Happy birthday to Nick. Okay. Now, that car is a 60, I believe, a 68 coupe. He's done a bunch of cool stuff to that car. I've shown pictures of it before. And he recently has asked me if I would be interested in sharing a video. And what he did, if you look at this thumbnail right here, if it'll pop up, so for some reason this is lagging today. This is trying to lag on me, so I'm going to see if this will work. Okay, so that's the same picture that's in the thumbnail, and it has that little wing on the deck lid or spoiler. And the company that makes that, they make it, I believe it's carbon fiber, and it's, I think Foreman is the name of the company. Now, Nick wanted to show that being installed and what he went through to do that. So he did shoot some video and he sent me clips of the process. And so I have that all in my computer. I'm going to get a few more shots from him, but I will be probably posting that video to show what he's done for that part of it and that spoiler. And also it may help with anybody who's interested in maybe getting something like that for their car and knowing about this company. So just to let you know, that's sorry, that is in the works. I already got stuff going on. But anyway, this live stream, we try to focus on classic cars. And I say that classic 55 to sometime in the mid 70s, let's say, is where my forte is, so to speak. I appreciate the older cars more than anything, and I think most of us do. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here watching this. So if you are at all interested in participating, please do. If you have a question, go ahead and ask it. There's no dumb questions. A lot of times it gets a conversation started. It allows us to, allows us to share information back and forth. And if I can't answer the question or come up with some good insight, there's usually a great group of people on the side there that have some good stuff going on. Also, I will say that I saw Don is here from Don's Manufacturing. He's been fighting with his car. Unfortunately, Betsy has been giving him problems. Well, not Betsy so much as accessories being used on Betsy. And if you haven't followed Don or seen his videos, by all means, go check out his videos. He has a wealth of knowledge, a lot of background, and he comes up with some great ideas and problem solving. So I recommend highly that you go see Don, not right now, later on. Go check out Don's Manufacturer. You see him in the side. Check that out. So, okay. Let's see who's here tonight and see what we have to talk about. First in is Rick Gain. He says, it's too cold. I had a new furnace installed today. I need this relaxing time. Glad you're here, Rick. Sorry that you had to go through getting a new furnace installed. But I'm thankful that you were able to get a new furnace installed as well. Just got to think of it that way. Derek Pro is checking in from Australia. Hi, everyone. Hope to join later. Keep warm, Rick. Still, Slither looking awesome, Barry. Thank you, Derek. I'm sure he'll be back later on. So, Derek always has some good stuff. Dave Tyson, good evening, all. Good evening, Dave. First Dave sighting. Terry Keithley, evening, Barry and all. Please hit the like and thumbs up. Thank you kindly. Jerry, go Buckeyes. Okay. I'm sure, if she's available, I'm sure she'll show up later on. Ray Buckman, good evening, Barry and all. It was low 60s here in mid-Colorado today. Hope you all had a productive week and projects and all. Thank you, Ray. I think I did have a productive week, and I got other stuff done. Just to give you some idea, I know that I put videos out on the Mustangs and classic car repair and all that sort of thing. And I also will put videos out occasionally on my other channel, my Joe Daddy's Workshop channel. And those are nothing related to cars typically. The last video I did, I think, was on a grill that I put together. And it's for the camper. And I think that was the last one anyway. But, I do a lot of other stuff too. I don't always just focus on these. I do maintenance for friends and people that I know. I do oil changes for them. And I have been, one of the oddball things I did, a neighbor up the street, their kid had an electric scooter that they couldn't get the tire on. So they came to me and, I fixed them up. So that's, there's a lot of things that I do beyond the Mustang stuff. But one of the things that's been bugging me for a while is my 68 GMC. Now, you probably, many of you have seen it. Franken truck is what I labeled that truck. And it is a 68 cab on a 2006 Chevy 2500 HD chassis. I have several videos on that process where I converted it over. And, when I did that work, I ended up having a problem. And it was electrical. And I'm not an electrical guru. I can troubleshoot, I can fix some things, but when I have a serious electrical problem, I just kind of I don't know. So that truck's been giving me problems. And it was because I created the problem. Whenever I ran all the wiring for that, I had plugged in a plug, and I mentioned I did a video on it. To me, if you have a whole bunch of wiring harness plugs underneath the dash of a vehicle, that plug should only fit in one place. Period. They should not overlap. There should not be any variables in there. So when I did that truck, I was plugging stuff back in, and my mind went, hey, this plug looks like the same as that opening. Let me plug that in. And I did. Well, what it ended up doing was it grounded out the system. And so I fried a wire. I burnt out a ground wire. So then I went and I took that wire and I replaced it. And since then I've had problems. Now, we all know there are problems with wiring. You got to have your grounds right. Everything has to be connected properly. You got to have fuses right, all those sort of things. So it's been going on and on and on, and it's been driving me crazy. So recently, I had that Top Don AG Pro scan tool, I hooked it up to Frankentruck, finally. I said, let me see what this is doing. I ended up with a couple codes, and one of them was a body control module. Okay, great. What do I do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. Let me show you a second. Hold on. I ended up looking, just searching on eBay, or searching actually online for this control module, part number 15136876. Okay, that's the body control module. And I found a vendor on eBay that would program this to the VIN number and then send it to me and give me instructions as to what I needed to do. This just showed up today, late today. So I haven't had time to mess with it yet, but I'm really, really hoping this will solve my problems. I hate electrical problems, and I've had other ones in the house. I've got a problem with an oven right now, driving me crazy. I would much rather be taking a welder and buzzing welds than fighting with electrical problems ever. But that is one of the things I'm trying to do. I want to get Frankentruck running properly so that I can confidently fire it up and go use it and drive it somewhere. So that's one of the other things that's it's been bugging me for quite some time. But I feel like I am getting maybe getting some things narrowed down on the problem there. So anyway, let's see where we were at, because Ray had mentioned projects. So that's kind of what prompted that. So Rusty's Restoration, Lowberry and all slithers coming together nicely. Thumbs up. Thank you for that. And I agree. Troy Justin, good evening from coastal Georgia. It's 61 degrees here, and I'm liking it. As soon as my back heals, I'll get back at the car. Old age sucks. Yes, it does. I may have to bring up something else about that in just a minute. Let me get past some of this stuff here. Troy, and for those I missed on Saturday, happy belated Veterans Day, brothers in arms. Yes, very much so. Happy Veterans Day to all of you out there. Ed Cucciarella, hello all. Hello Ed, glad you're here. Rusty, sent you a picture of the motor I picked up for my 68 Restomod. It's a little rough and will need gone through. I happen to actually have downloaded that. So there is that engine, and he says it's a 429 Thunderjet and a C6 is what he got. So I'll have to take your word for it. Thunderjet sounds so cool. It's a Thunderjet. Just sounds cool to me. And of course, this is the car that he's putting together. That is his hybrid convertible fastback. The roof is removable on that. So pretty cool project. Thank you, Russ. Leonard Gilbreth, evening, Barry, or evening, and how's everyone doing? Sorry, I put Barry in there. Evening, and how's everyone doing? Glad you're here, Leonard. I'm doing pretty good. I hope you are as well. 68 Orange Crate, howdy from Houston, ready for some drier weather. Okay. We haven't been getting much rain here, but I appreciate where you're coming from. So glad you're here, Orange Crate. Robert checking in, evening all, doing a little more part number research and going to warm up the rest of my pastrami sandwich for dinner. Awesome. There you go. Yeah, Robert's actually been trying to help me out a little bit with the oven problem that we have. We put an oven in our house. I don't know. It's probably 20 years old, and it's a double oven. The upper oven, the bake element is not working, and it's becoming a stress point for my wife. Thanksgiving is coming, and she likes to use both those ovens to make all that delicious food. We're struggling with the upper oven not working at the moment, so trying to get that resolved. And we're finding that parts aren't readily available, so that's always fun. But Robert is pretty good at finding stuff, so he's helping me out on that. Dawn's Manufacturer, hello everyone from Soggy PDX. Yeah, I was watching your video earlier, Dawn. I know with those control arms, you're frustrated with it, and I don't blame you at all. That's ridiculous that a product like that should be giving you that much grief. So hopefully you get it all resolved to your liking. Bob Shoemaker, good evening from Oklahoma. Still nice 70s temps. Wow, that would be nice. We've been having lows in the upper 40s and highs in the mid 60s. So really can't complain. It is middle of November, by the way. The Dawn, good evening, Barry and all. Great to finally make another Cars and Coffee. Whoops, let me get that bell. There you go. Glad you're here, Dawn. Evan's Garage, hi Barry, hi gang. I've been pretty busy, but I'm back. Got the new floor almost fully welded in, too. Awesome. That's a good sign. Dawn says, cool, Evan. Nandu, good evening, all. Hope you're doing good. Thank you, Nandu. Same to you. Evan's Garage, hopefully I won't be leaning to one side in the driver's seat. I hope not. Nick is checking in. Hello, stopping by for a few and heading out to celebrate my birthday. Cool thumbnail. Owner should fix that license plate with one that actually lays flat. Again, happy birthday, Nick. Glad you're here. Happy birthday from Dawn. Ray Rochelle. Hey, Barry and all. Or Raymond. I'm guessing Rochelle. Name seems familiar to me. He seems familiar to me. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I either know that name or I served with somebody in the military who had a similar name. So glad you're here, Raymond. Sorry if I missed you. Evans Garage says happy birthday, Nick. Steve Reed, hello from everyone from Paducah, Kentucky. Hope everyone is doing well and the fastback's looking great. Thank you, Steve. I agree. And Ray's from Noonan, which isn't too far away, due west of here. Jack W. checking in from New Jersey. Good evening, Barry. Good evening, Jack. Glad you're here. Harvey is checking in also from New Jersey. Hello, Barry. Enjoyed the last video. Super job on the torque boxes. Awesome. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. We have Jab0311 says hello. Hello, Jab. I see a Marine Corps logo in there, so I'm going to tell you Happy Veterans Day as well. Raymond says, love the torque box video. Good. Well, you know, I'd done the one on the passenger side, and it really went well. It did. And again, I talk about, you know, how I test fit stuff before I ever get to that point. I really, you know, I had probably sort of test fitted that when I was doing everything else. But I had not done it prior to putting the panel in the car. I mean, I started filming with putting it together. I really did. I did not have anything figured out until I started filming it. And the passenger side went really well, but it's less complicated in a sense than the driver's side. So when I started putting in the driver's side, I really didn't plan to film it. I thought I gave enough information with the passenger side. But then as I started to struggle with it, I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to do something. And I in that video, I know that I filmed something that wasn't in the video, like some sort of information or a pilot episode of the video. I don't know what happened to it. I had meant to play that in the sequence. I had made the new part after, you know, after I had already filmed some of the other stuff, and it disappeared. I don't know if I deleted it accidentally or not, but it didn't hurt the video. It still turned out very good, I thought. Robert Nick's car is impressive. I kind of like that wing. I'm more into the squared shapes. Fits my personality better. Okay. Jab, this is a good escape from politics and all the trouble our country is in. You know what? I agree with you. There's a lot of crazy going on. Just across the world, it feels like there's a lot of crazy going on. So if we can escape from that for a little bit, let's do that. Nick says, thanks, guys. Dawn says, oh boy, new Viewers Project video. Yeah, that's kind of what it'll be. Kind of a Viewers Project video. Ray, love the way Nick tucked the rear bumper into the tail panel area. Yeah, that turned out really nice. And if you can't see it in these pictures, but he also made cutouts in the rear valance. And I know it doesn't show up in probably either one of these pictures that I have. I know, I mean, yeah, that's just from another angle. But he put cutouts in the rear valance. And I know that he's going to be sending me another segment for the video that we're going to put out. So maybe he can do that as well, is come around and show that cutout. I like the looks of the whole car. So I'm kind of wanting, you know how I do like an introduction to the videos now? Because in the past I would do a little sequence and start talking, blah, blah, blah. But now I like to do kind of a brief overview of what's going on. And so I'm kind of encouraging Nick to give me something similar to that so we can see the whole car and then also focus on that rear wing. So it should be pretty good. Let me go back up here. Mr. Mikey, happy birthday, Nick. Just how old are you? Oh, well, that's kind of personal, Mikey. Jack says, good evening, Barry. Did you inquire about that Mustang? No, I did not. Jack had sent me a link of a fastback, 65 or 6 fastback. Really just the upper half of the car. It needed everything underneath it, but it was had no floor pan in it. It had no quarters on it, no front section, no doghouse, nothing. But it had a VIN number and the skeleton of a car. So I did not contact the people about that, but I do appreciate you sharing that with me. Nick says 39 years. Well, Nick, that's I did not. I wouldn't even have guessed 39, to be honest. I wouldn't. So I guess that's good. I would have thought you were younger, Nick. I really would have, but don't take that the wrong way. Nothing wrong with being 39. Michael Pagliarini, hello all from Chile, Rhode Island. My wife's 65 is off the frame jig. Okay, that's a nice thing. Roger, Hindsight 67, greetings from next door. Glad you're here, Raj. We've got trouble codes. I'm not going to be able to help you with the trouble codes. I'm glad you're here, but I'm not going to be able to go into trouble codes. I see you have several there. I can't help you with that right in the middle of this. Sorry. Faith Followers Customs, good evening all. Like, subscribe, and thumbs up. Enjoying the Slither videos. Thank you, Faith Followers Customs. He also says, happy birthday, Nick. Dino Max, good evening, Barry, and everyone else watching. I'm in the North Island of New Zealand. It's 1 p.m. Tuesday afternoon here and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I really enjoy everything you do and find it very motivational. That's awesome. Dino Max, I'm glad you're here. I really am. We also had Derek here from Australia earlier. So global. We are global. Troy Justin, happy birthday, Nick. Hope it was a good one. Charles, I'm here and have been first post right behind Dave Tyson. Second 3 minutes goes the third one. A charm. They just disappeared. Oh, wow. Okay. That's odd. I'm not seeing any of those, Charles. I am not seeing any of those. So I don't know what's going on. But I'm glad you're here. Dave Conville's checking in, also from New Jersey. Second Dave sighting, I think. Tommy from the Busted Knuckle Garage. Hello from Birmingham. That's in Alabama. Glad you're here. Chip Dunham. Good evening from Grayling, Michigan, I guess. I'm guessing Michigan. We could have other MIs, but I'm going to guess Michigan. Glad you're here, Chip. Sorry, I'm going to give you a bell. Car Guy Troy, good evening. All hope all is well. Glad you're here as well. Dumb Marine. Fitting 65 fastback on jack stands in garage this coming weekend for the winter. Always wondered what it would be like to be able to drive her all year. But you can find out. You could find out. Just put on some winter tread tires, right? Get the spikes and all that stuff. Yeah, they used to do it. You could do it if you really wanted to. Okay, let's see here. Glad you're here, by the way. Larry Fordyce. Been a while, but glad to catch you live. Larry, Japan, right? I think Larry's in Japan. I think. Or he was. I think that's who it is. So glad you're here. Jordan Eveningberry, we had a productive weekend over here. We finished cutting the rest of the trunk floor out of my 67 Camaro. On to replacing the inner wheel wells. Awesome. Glad you're here, Jordan. American Cheese. Good evening from Lebanon, Oregon. Glad you're here. Ed, question. Anyone running an electric booster fuel pump at the fuel tank with the stock fuel pump? With the winter blend fuel in California, I'm now experiencing vapor lock when in traffic. So you're saying adding a booster or electric fuel pump along with your stock fuel pump? I've not heard of people doing that. So I don't know what kind of problem that may cause, but that's a good question. Um, I know I know typically you have one or the other. I've not seen anybody run both. So if anybody has any insight on that, let Ed know. Thank you. Dennis Paulson, hi Barry and gang. Nice to get back to cars and coffee. Glad you're here, Dennis. Terry Keith says happy birthday to Nick. Car Guy Troy, those removable fastbox roofs are very cool. Guy that makes a version of them for 62 out to 6 is here local. I also had a neighbor that made a version for the 67. He moved to Florida, was in the Air Force. Okay. Yeah, it's a neat option for sure. Charles, it's been a great week for Slither. He got his torque boxes tightened up, picked up a 6R80 6-speed. Today, the parts to build the short block were purchased. Depending on the bore, it will be a 496 or a 511. That's going to be interesting. 496 or 511 or 511. That's what you call for information or something. Call before you dig, kind of thing, or something like that. That'll be a beast for sure. Dave Britton. Hello, Dave. Checking in from the Great White North as well. That's our third Dave sighting. We're doing pretty good. Stefan Therm. Joe, got a question for you. I have a 69 Mach 1 and the torque boxes on it appear to have been used as jack points, both of them. Would you A, try to pull the jack dents out, or B, cut them out and replace them? They're not rusty and otherwise in great shape. Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, it would be the problem you run into is those panels are really thick, pretty heavy duty. It's unlikely you're going to find a way to pull them out with anything. I say that. Now, however, if you had the car up on a frame machine, and I know when I've done frame machine work, I could weld on a big, heavy knuckle, something I could get a hold of with the machine and pull stuff out. Okay, that would probably what it would take to make that come back down. You would have to weld something to it that you could hook a machine to, or maybe something you're gonna have to be able to pull against something to get it to come out. There's no way to access it pushing out. I know that much, and I really can't think of an easy way to make that happen. Now, there is some alternatives, depending on how bad the dent is and how much you really want to dig into it. I've done stuff before where I've had a dent in, say, a rocker panel or in a compound shape or something like that. And I've cut into that itself and worked the flanges out. So I'm just saying this as an example. On the Camaro I did years ago, it had a big dent in a rocker panel and no access to that. And I ended up cutting a big X in the middle of it and working the 4 flanges back out to flush and welding them back together, grinding it smooth. It worked out pretty nice. Again, without seeing just how bad these are, you may be able to you may be able to do something like that. Or another thing you can do is cut it out. Take that piece of metal out. When I say cut it out, I like to try to cut stuff in a circle if I can. I know it's a little more challenging, but when you cut it in a circle and you weld back in and you start tack welding around the circle, it all pulls evenly back together. If you cut a square, it's going to pull awkward on those corners and maybe do some weird stuff. This is heavy metal though. It should hold up fine, but you may have to cut it out, just the bottom piece, take it out, flatten it back out, and just weld it back in and grind everything off. In that way, you actually gain some access to the inside of that. If you needed to, you could wire brush that inside, treat it with some, chassis saver or POR 15, and weld that stuff back together. So that may be an option that may be worth looking at. The other alternative would be to buy a new set and just cut off the lower half, leave the upper half in there, and put in the new piece. So those are your options. I really can't say which is best for you, but those are some ideas that may help. So good question. I like that. A little bit of thinking goes into those kind of questions. Dave Britton says Nick does beautiful work. Yeah, he has a beautiful car. And Stefan says happy birthday. Yes, thank you to Nick. By the way, Nick says, by the way, the rear valance will fit tighter at the bottom, but the stud is missing from that side, so it's sort of rigged to keep it from bending right now. She's still in progress. Okay, that's good news. I was concerned about that, Nick. I was concerned about that gap. I can tell you now, I was concerned about that. So Robert is replying to Stefan. Had some dents from a bottle jack and other dents on my rockers, and I pulled them out 99% of the way. It is not easy as they are thick, and pulling them is a chore. Yeah, it is tough. Mark Anderson, greetings from Phoenix, Arizona, with a chilly 80 degrees. I would take that any day. Interesting thumbnail. Looks like you're driving a van or something, or Suburban. And your spouse looks bored. And nice thumbnail. Glad you're here. Nick, thanks again, guys. I don't think I'm going to quite... Oh, wait, what? Thanks again, guys. I don't think I'm going to quite get white girl drunk tonight. You trying to butter me up, Barry? What do you want? I want you to have a good time, Nick. Stay safe. Go celebrate. You don't need to be here. Go celebrate your birthday. Richard, good evening, Barry. I'm late. I'll send myself to detention. Happy birthday, Nick. Glad you're here, Richard. Derek is back. Hi, Barry. Made it quick. Quick coffee break, then back to work. Making slow progress on the Brumby, but getting there slowly. And by the way, the Brumby is a Subaru Brat that we have seen pictures of in the past. Cool little vehicle. I've got a couple other pictures I can download here. We'll see how that goes. Give me just 1 second. I have to delete a couple things. See if this will open up. So Harvey has sent me some pictures, or Jared and Harvey's, I'm sorry, the 67 Camaro. So they had sent me pictures previously of this car, just to show you. This is the 67 Camaro they picked up recently, and it looks like they have gutted out the bottom of it. Yeah. Frame rails look good, though. That's a good sign. And then also, I think that's pieces and parts that they cut out. Well, good. Get rid of that rust and get the thing back together. Let's see. Jab 03 says, what is your favorite Mustang year? That's a tough question. Honestly, I would have default quickly to say 69. I've said it before. My dad had a 69 Mach 1. I had been trying to find that car in particular, which I've given up on. I looked for that car for decades, and I have no idea where it went, who got it. So I've given up on that. I recently picked up my own 69 Mach 1 that I have shown in some of the videos. Maybe you've seen it. So to me, the 69 Mach 1 is like the pinnacle of design for the Mustang. They couldn't do any better than that. The 65 and 6 cars I'm okay with. Occasionally I like them as a coupe. Occasionally I like them as a fastback, but are not my favorite. 67 is a good design. I know a lot of people like it. It's got a little bit of some transitional stuff going on between the 6 and the 7. '68 is where they really kind of nailed everything down as to what they needed for that final generation of that design. Let's say. I really like the '68s a lot. I really, really do. I like the coupes a lot. But, '69 is probably going to be my default answer. '69 Mach 1 or sports roof, whatever. But that would be my answer. So, but I do like. I mean, I'm a car guy, so I like cars. I like Camaros. I like Plymouths. I like Studebakers, Corvairs. I don't care. I like cars. But as far as the Mustangs go, I would have to go with the '69 to be the final design that I like. Derek is also saying happy birthday to Nick. He says thank you. Harvey, hi Barry. Emailed a pic of Jordan. I said Jared, didn't I? Sorry. Jordan's Camaro, the trunk floor and shock crossmember cut out. Next is clean and prep for welding. Yes. And I showed that. And I apologize for the wrong name. I was close. I was close. So, yeah, that's looking good. I see it has the antenna hole on the quarter panel. So, are you going to put twin antennas on it with the raccoon tails or whatever? I know it was a big thing. The old Impalas, they did that a lot. Put up two antennas. You were extra cool if you had two antennas on your car. Doyle. Hello all. Thanks Barry for help with the olds. Photo sent of trunk lid finally in epoxy primer. Okay. Let me see if I can. Oh, that one's not showing up yet. I've been having a little bit of a lag, but it's not showing up just yet. Robert, I welded a bunch of 1/4-20 nuts to the rockers and smacked the nuts out with a big slide hammer. It was not easy. It was ugly and slow. Well, and the thing is, the torque boxes are thicker. They're a lot thicker than the rocker panels. If I did it again, it wasn't so cheap. I'd buy one rocker and use it for patch panels for both sides. That's probably a reasonable thought. Evan, Barry just suggested what I was going to say. Maybe get a lower section of the torque box in. Yeah. He says I replaced my rust-free floor supports because it looked like someone beat them with a sledgehammer. Yeah, and when I've done floor pans on cars that had a good floor support, that's when I've gone in there and hammered it out from up above and tried to get that shape back as best I could without cutting them out. Yeah, the jack is not friendly on these cars. Everybody wants to think, they always think, oh, that looks like a solid part, and it's really not that solid. If you go to where the torque box, the frame rail, and the floor support all overlap each other, that's a strong point. But yeah, people would do that all the time. They'd go to that floor support and start jacking on it and just compress the thing because that's not what it's there for. Car Guy Troy, I think Harbor Freight sells those stud welders. Maybe the guy could use one of those to pull out the dents in the floor supports. I use one on a rocker panel, worked pretty good. It won't work on the torque boxes. I have one of those. It won't even come close. Torque boxes are mighty strong and thick. It's going to take something pretty serious to get that dent out. Steve Dickerson, howdy from Texas. I haven't been on in a while. Glad to be here. Well, I'm glad you're here, Steve. I can't remember when you were here last. Derek, very nice wheel tubs, and remember, in Barry we trust. Goodbye to the rust. Yes, I have not created that shirt yet. Robert, the regular stud welders won't hold well enough to pull the rocker and floor support steel. No one makes the 3mm studs anymore. I have a few left, but they are extinct now. Okay. And Robert, there are a few stud welder types that can spread the load across many tags versus just one at a time. Okay. Nick, 70. I'd trade mine in a heartbeat for a comparable or slightly less built one compared to mine. I love them. Don't know. I'm off to go be responsible later, guys. Have fun, Nick. Lynn, what do you think about the '68 Fastback 2+2? That's a good question. Glad you're here, Lynn. I don't. You may have been here earlier, but um, I I like it. I mean, sometimes again, it's the certain angles. They look really, the coupe or the fastback look really great, and then there's certain angles where they don't. There's things that don't quite mesh. On the 69s, they like I said, they figured all that out, and everything just blends like it's supposed to. But I do like the 68 fastback. I don't like the Eleanor cars. I've never been a fan of those. All the extra doodads they added onto that thing. Never been a fan of that. I like a well built 68 fastback. Nice wheels, munchy tires underneath it, all that stuff. But I like the stock look probably more than the other extra stuff that people put on them. Stefan, what color was your dad's? What code? HMSR or Q? Got the last few of the VIN, 9R, 9F. I don't have any of that information. This was a car. My dad, he bought the car in '69. Had a little bit of quarter panel damage, and I don't know how he got the car, but he bought the car. It was Acapulco blue, 351 Windsor, 4-speed. Had the hood scoop. Did not have a wing. Did not have louvers. It had the styled wheels, like they put on earlier cars, the chrome wheels with the little hubcap in the middle, and the beauty ring or whatever on those. Had those wheels on it. It was not an air conditioned car. It had the black interior with the red stripe, wood grain dash, clock. Um, that's about all I know for a fact. Now, I don't recall. I'm assuming it had disc brakes. I don't know for sure. Um, you know, I don't know that if I saw the car again, I don't know that I could identify it because it's probably been fixed up. This was sold back in 80, I'm thinking 84. I think it was 84, probably 84. And it was up in Pennsylvania. I know that when he sold that car, it had 16,000 original miles on it. That much I do know. It did not have it had I actually cut the shocks off of it when I was a teenager, and I think I put air shocks on it. So that's probably the only original part that was removed from that car. It even had the original tires on it when he sold it back in 80, like I said, 84. But I've asked him about it before. He can't remember who he sold it to. There's nothing that I know of as far as the VIN. So I've just kind of given up on it, and that's fine. I have my own car now, my own Mach 1, and I'll probably basically clone that car. I love Acapulco blue, black interior with the red stripe. All that stuff is right in my wheelhouse of what I like. So I'll probably just copy that. Michael, favorites are 69 Mustang, 67 Camaro. That's cool. I don't have a problem with that at all. Steve Reed says, happy birthday, Nick. Black Rain says hello. Well, hello, Black Rain. Marine, start up the heat in your wall unit yet? It's running right now. Yes. I don't leave it on all the time. I just run it when I need it. So it's on. Richard says, Barry, how do you feel about the 71 to 73 Mustangs? They're if I'm going to the dance, they're not first on my dance card. They're a little husky. I don't have a problem with the car themselves. I like that they kept a lot of the design, cues from the other cars, but they really did. They got big, like the Gran Torino turned into this big car, and they just feel bulky to me. So I know that they also lost a lot of power emissions started coming into play, and they're still cool. They really are when they're done up nice. Like if you had a plain Jane one, yeah, I'm not going to look at it probably more than once. But if you had a fastback or a Boss 429, those are pretty cool. So they do have their place in the history. I like the convertibles. I actually like the 71 to 73 convertibles. I think they did a really fantastic job with those because they don't look as big and bulky. They look more sleek, and the body lines flow better to me on the convertibles. I don't like the coupes at all. I don't think they look right. So it's either going to be a fastback or a convertible. So, just my opinion. Doyle, I had to fix my Cutlass rocker panels the same. Someone tried to jack up the car. Dumb thing is the frame is 2 inches behind it. Yeah, that's not uncommon. And I still your pictures haven't showed up, Doyle. So I'm just gonna have to guess they're lost to the internet somewhere. Troy, I'm with you, Barry. I'm so tired of seeing the Eleanor cars. I prefer the stock bodies. Yeah, I'm just not. They don't do much for me. Even, when the original Gone in 67 Seconds, that car I like. I like it a lot because it's a stock looking, Mustang fastback. The one they did with Nicolas Cage, who is not my actor of choice, it didn't do it justice compared to the original movie, and all that extra stuff they threw on it just didn't do it for me. Dave Britton, with me personally, I always thought the eyebrows on the dash looked a bit overdone after being used to the ones on the 65 to 68. The rest of the car is beautiful. I see what you're saying there. I do. I see what you're saying. I think in some aspect they were trying to make it almost feel like each person had their own kind of pod design, let's say we're sitting in. Where the other cars, it was a little more, it was wider, it was more spread across the whole thing, so to speak. But in the 69, they kind of made it almost like a cockpit feeling, So I get what you're saying, but yeah, I like it though. Dave Britton, if you found that Mustang your dad had, do you think you could identify it? I really doubt it. I really, really doubt it. The only thing I could say is I know that the driver's quarter panel had a wrinkle in it. Just a little wrinkle, and I'm sure that's been fixed. Otherwise, it was the basic Acapulco Blue 69 Mach 1 that they made lots of. And you could look at any of them, and I don't think, unless you had written your name somewhere in a secret spot that nobody knew of, it'd be really hard to tell which one was which. There's a guy that is just up the road from me. He's the original owner of a 69 Mach 1. And his car is Acapulco Blue. It's got 390 in it, and it was an automatic. And other than that, it's identical to the one my dad had. That's all I can say. I don't know of any other way to identify it. And again, my dad doesn't have any records of it. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be it's probably been, my guess, it was probably, because the guy, if I remember correctly, he was buying it for his wife, I think. I think that was the words that I got. And I'm sure he fixed it up or did whatever repairs needed to be done to it. But, in Pennsylvania, a lot of everything up there rusted, if it was being driven. So it's really hard to say. I hope it still exists, but I don't know. Marine, my father's car when I was a kid was a 69 Plymouth Roadrunner and red, which must have been odd. The only photo I have is black and white, though. Figures. Okay. 69 red 69 Roadrunner. I mean, I wouldn't say that's odd. I think a lot of them were red. I don't know what the production numbers are, but that would be a cool car. Lawrence T. McGillicuddy. I take my 66 Mustang or Rat Stang. There you go. Over an Eleanor any day. Yes, I agree with you. And I'm glad you're here. Dave Tyson, if it had air shocks. If it still had the air shocks that I put on as a kid. Yeah. True story. This, you know what? I haven't done this in a while. I'm going to go to Junkyard Story Time. Okay. So my dad had this 69 Mach 1. And, the rumor was it was going to be my car when I turned 16. And it never was. It just never became my car. And I used to go up in the, it sat up in the backyard at the junkyard, like right behind the house. I used to take a battery up there. I'd put a battery in it. I'd fire it up. Make sure, ran gas through it, all that stuff. And, it was all original. It was all there. I would cycle through the gears. I would just kind of nudge it back and forth, make sure the clutch wasn't froze. I did that for years. And eventually it got moved for some reason to a slightly different location. And again, I was probably 14 or 15. And I thought, this car needs air shocks. So what I did, and let me tell you, when I tell you this, you're gonna think I was such an idiot, because I was an idiot. I took a torch. I couldn't get the air shocks off, and I took a torch. Or I couldn't get the shocks off. I took a torch and I cut the shocks off. Okay? But when I did, I caught the grass on fire. I almost burned up that car. I almost burned up that car in the process. But it was enough that I kind of like was able to sweep it, it was grass. So it was dry grass, and I was able to get it all put out. And I did manage to get the shocks off. They unbolted out of the trunk, out of the back fine. But I had to cut the post off the bottom for whatever reason. I think what it was, I didn't have enough experience and know that I needed to hold the base of the shock steady while I took the nut off. I didn't have anything to grab onto it with. And so rather than figure that out, I went and grabbed the torches and I cut that thing off. I don't think I damaged anything on the plate. I don't think I hurt it, but it was just it was a scary moment that I almost burned up that 69 Mach 1. And at the time, there was a 70 Mach 1 sitting right behind it as well. Like it was like the blue car was sitting like this, and the yellow car was back behind it. So it was a good chance I could have burned up two Mach 1s at the same moment. And that other one was it was yellow. I remember it being yellow, and I don't remember any specifics about it. But I just, I almost burned it up, and that would have really been bad, really, really bad had I done that. So, okay, we'll get back off of the junkyard story time for a minute. Bob Shoemaker had a 73 Mach 1, and the seating is real low in the car, and rear vision out the flat window is bad. Otherwise, the 351 4-barrel Cleveland did run hard. Yeah, I could see it running good, but like you said, you couldn't see out of the car. It was just not fun in my opinion to be driving that. But Dawn, naturally, I like the early Stangs, small on the outside, big on the inside. Betsy for the win. Okay, Dawn, I'm with you on that. Dave Britton. One thing decent here in Canada, you can tell who has owned the cars for their history. Every car has to be titled before you can drive it. Okay. That's good information. Oh, speaking of which, the title for my Mach 1 is in the mail. Yes. I will have that title this week. Very happy about that. Derek Pro, 64 watching, 39 likes. Come on, guys. Yeah. Dave Britton, Eleanor is just gaudy. If I won one, I would sell it and buy a stock one instead. Yeah, I don't even want to It does nothing for me. It really doesn't. Just no interest in this stuff. I saw one that was on display up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Supposedly it was whatever movie car display thing, and I just, it didn't do nothing for me. Just too much junk all over it. Dave Conville, woohoo, junkyard story time. Yeah, that was that. I'd forgotten that I almost burned that car up. That would have been a nightmare. Leonard still think the 71 73 Mustang Coupe don't get the credit they deserve. Okay, I mean you're right. They don't get much love at all. They really don't. To me, their scale is off. The fastback, the extra long nose they put on the front, kind of balances out the big back end they put on that car. And then the 71 and 73 Coupe, you still had that great big long nose, but you had that little notchback, and it just, to me, the balance was off. It just doesn't quite play out right. And when they went to the convertible, it just made it all streamlined. It got rid of the roof line. You have the top down in particular. It just helped it look better, in my opinion. But they don't get a lot of attention. Lawrence says, great story. Yeah. Dave Britton, my thought was when I first saw the 71 to 73 was it was no longer a sports car. That's pretty, yeah, I get that point. Yeah, because it's, like I said, it's, back then they were bulking things up for whatever reason. Robert, to me, a 71 73 would be a daily driver. Some are pretty nice, but doesn't have the same appeal to me. I wouldn't turn down an awesome deal on one though, as it'd be a fun driver. Well, that makes sense. I'm with you on that. Rick, my 65 is vacationing at a friend's garage. Need room to install the furnace. He has a lift, so I get to do maintenance next weekend. Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good. I mean, there's a trade-off, I guess. Get some maintenance up to date, so that's good. Let me get a drink here. My throat is getting rough already. Okay. As I mentioned, I think in the last video, the torque boxes, I'm going to try to get the frame connectors in place and get those taken care of. I don't know that I'll weld them all the way in. What I probably will do is get them fitted, work on any transitions that have to be adjusted or shaped to make it fit the floor pan like it should. And then I will probably weld it to the front floor support and to the rear frame rail, and maybe put some welds in between as I come forward to fill that in. I'm confident that this car is not going to change shape or anything. It's more solid than the one you buy pre-built from Dynacorn, but I don't want to be under the car, like crawling around over and over and over trying to get all the welds done. But I can get it in to where it's not going to go anywhere, with the intent that later on it'll go up on the lift and I can do all that extra welding and stuff that needs to happen. The other thing I need to work on is finishing up the mini tub welds, nothing but more on the seam, get those welded up. And then I did, as I mentioned in the previous video, I had test fitted the Dynacorn quarter panel on the driver's side. Fits really, really nice. It actually fits, it does fit better than the NPD. It matches the inner structure. Feels like it matches it better. So that, I'm very happy with that. Now, there's still obviously some things I have to do to connect all the stuff up top. But I can't put the roof on until the quarters are on. I can't put the quarters on until we have the inner structure all taken care of. And then we're going to put some paint inside the quarters before they go on the car, like epoxy and stuff. And then, of course, the tail panel and the filler pieces and all that sort of thing. So there's still plenty that needs to happen. And it will happen. It will happen. The The only difficulty with the frame connectors is, of course, getting underneath the trailer jig. I'd thought about the idea of putting everything on the lift, but it's just not going to be worth it to try to put the jig and the car all together on the lift. If I if I had a better way to balance things out, I might consider it, but it's just going to be too difficult to do that sort of thing. Dave Britton says what Robert said, talking about having the 71 and 73 as a driver. You know, it just popped into my head. I know I've talked about this before. We had a 71 to 3 show up at the body shop years ago, and it was a convertible, and it was owned by some doctor, and he brought it to us because something about first of all, it was was it 71? Yeah, 71 to 73. I'm pretty sure it was. Hold on a minute. Let me back my mind up a minute. Now I can't remember for sure. Okay, we did do a 71 to 73 convertible for a guy. We put stripes on it, put different wheels on it, redid the interior, and that one was that butterscotch color. So that was one of them. No, the other car was a 68 convertible. So scratch that. But the 71 to 73 was the butterscotch kind of yellow color, and we put the black stripes on the side, fixed up the interior, put different tires and wheels on it. The thing was sharp, and that's where I got an appreciation for those convertibles. So let me see here. Hold on just a second. Bob Shoemaker. Weight distribution on the 73 was all up front because they burned the tires off. Yeah, they were just kind of, the balance wasn't quite right. Dave Tyson, 10 pounds of welding wire. Yeah. Probably take more than that. Dummarine, as always, great stuff. Bambino to bedtime now. Take care. All right. Glad you were here. Leonard, the 69 to 70 Mustang Shelby front end is close to the 71 to 73 Mustangs. Yeah, the Shelby is. Yeah, because they extended that front end out. I agree. They were trying to give that car a whole different look, and they did. Rusty, I got the 65 Mustang off the rotisserie today, and leaf springs and rear end installed. Getting closer to getting the car on its wheels. Work on the front end tomorrow. That's awesome. Hey, if you would, bring that rotisserie down here and let me use it. Dave Brent Barry, we know you would like to build a autocross car, but would you ever want to build a drag car? Not really. I don't. Here's the problem with that. There's nowhere for me to race the thing. If I did build a drag car, there's really nowhere here. I think you have to drive probably 2 hours north to get to, I guess Atlanta Dragway is still up there. I don't even know. Now, they used to have what they called Friday night drags at Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is only about 20 minutes from here. And they quit doing that. I forget what reasoning it was. They had a tremendous following. Lots of people showing up. But I don't know that they were making enough money. You know how it is. But they quit doing that. So I don't really have any interest in building something that I have to drive halfway across the state just to race it a few times. So not interested. But if they had a dirt track car, if I built a dirt track car, I'd probably be doing that, but not a Mustang, obviously. Evan, epoxy inside the quarters. Yeah. We'll be doing some stuff in there. Derek, good work, guys. Up to 51 likes. Thank you, Derek. Richard, do the 69 Mustangs have a problem with the shock tower flexing inwards like the 65 to 66? It does have, it's the same thing. It really is. It's the same structure. There is no change to that. These shock towers, the frame rails, it's all the same. They changed a little bit of the design, I think, on the shock tower, but overall, it's the same same stuff. There is no nothing that makes it one, any different, really. Lawrence, my 66 Mustang was originally painted in that Paul yellow. Springtime yellow, they called it. Okay. Rick, Barry Robert has a good video on building a rotisserie. May come in handy for Slither. Yeah, I think I might have to just get a hold of one that's already got everything built for it. I might. Charles, Slither's front suspension is mostly autocross and road race. The rear suspension will have one of the first suspension of its kind for the 69 to 70 platform designed for road race. So there you go. Some information. Ron Walker says, hey, Joe. Hey, Ron. Glad you're here. Give you a bell. Robert, no, I would be happier with a commercial rotisserie. I'm cheap, hence I built mine. Well, it's a great rotisserie, though. It really is. I can't say it's not. You did a good job on it. Ray, well, folks, Broncos game starts shortly, although I'm not expecting much. Going to watch the first half. Barry, guys, y'all have a great week. Awesome. Glad you're here, Ray. Glad you were here. Leonard, the Cougars had the same problem with the shock towers. Yep. Marshall Overacre, the only quarter mile left in the state is Silver Dollar in Reynoldsville, Georgia. He says took, so he must be starting another sentence there. Yeah, I don't even know where Reynoldsville is. I have no idea. Evan says interesting. Yeah. I mean, there used to be Atlanta Dragway, I think, was up in North Georgia. I was there once, but I don't know. Here's something else I'm going to show you just a second. Let me go grab a box. Hold on. So I mentioned this in my Patreon video, and I wanted to bring this up because Charles had asked me if I had seen the plates for the exhaust hangers for the Cobra Jet, and I was like, I don't remember seeing those, And he had sent me pictures of the invoice and been like, hey, it's shipped in August, and here's blah blah blah, and I was like, well, who sent it? And he told me it was Classic Tube. Okay. Well, Classic Tube, I don't think of anything but tubing when I think Classic Tube. But as I was looking for the box, my mind was picturing for some reason a white box. Now, I mentioned this again in the Patreon video, but this is one of the plates. There's two plates that go in the car. They're not very big, right? Well, this is the box they came in. I just thought this was funny. This is the box. So I was looking for a box this size, not a box this size. So it took me a minute, but I found them. So these are going to be going in the car later, and they are also indexed left and right. So this has an R on it, and the other one has an L. But I just thought that was funny that sometimes we look for things and we can't see them because we're not looking for what they should be in. But anyway. Evan says, interested in rotisserie talk, got a scoot, have a great night. Okay, thank you, Evan. Dave Britton says, Barry, if you got it for free, would you like a lathe, a mill, or a plasma table? Plasma table. Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. I would like a plasma table. I would probably have more fun with that than I would with a lathe or a mill. I don't do enough of any kind of metal work like that I could benefit from that. But for the plasma table, I could make stuff. I really could. So that's a good question. Derek says, wouldn't Amazon have a cheap rotisserie or Harbor Freight? We bought a cheap one here when we built the Holden Ute. It's quite heavy, but worked well. We do not have to make the mounting brackets though, or we did have to make. Okay, I've been looking online, and Charles had sent me a link to the company. I think a company called Redline. They sell one which is suitable out of Pensacola, Florida, and the one he sent me or that I saw was like it was like $1,200, and it said free delivery. And I'm like, within 500 miles, free delivery. So I looked at that and I started reading the fine print. It was free delivery to a business that had a forklift. It would be quite a bit more to a residential. So I was like, that doesn't work, you know. I did look on Amazon. They had the same one, but it was like $1,800. So they were already counting on delivery fees or whatever built in. So we're researching it. I do have somebody local who supposedly has access to a rotisserie that I might be able to get. They have a car on it right now. I've been I'm not trying to hound the guy, but I'm getting to that point where I'm going to need a rotisserie, and I'm waiting to hear from him as well before we pull the trigger on anything. But yeah, it would be nice if Amazon would have have a good price on them, but they're not the best price. Marshall, Atlanta Dragway in Commerce is gone now. Another racetrack that's bit the dust. Okay, so that was in Commerce. Yep, I went there once. For some reason, I got somebody. I don't know how we had tickets to go, but I went up there one time. Dawn says, "Well, Barry, it's getting hungry out." Later, everyone. Thanks for the ideas on Betsy's squeaky knees. It's getting hungry out. I like that. Robert, the rotisseries went up in price a bunch over the last 2 years, basically doubled in price. Harbor Freight doesn't do stuff like that. They are primarily a tool store and not so much automotive stuff. Yep. Leonard says, Derek, I built a rotisserie for my Torino and metal and casters. I wouldn't be against building one, but I don't want to buy all the material and go through the process. I'd like to have one that's already built, and I can go bolt, 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 crank, crank, crank. Look, it spins. So, Robert gave a smiley face. The Dawn says, good night, all. Barry is always great Monday night. Thank you, Dawn. Robert's talking to Dave. I'd take the mill and lathe. I'm always looking for a lathe, but few show up here. Rusty, I think I got my rotisserie off eBay for around $12.50. Mine is a Redline. That is probably the same one. Well, see, I don't know what's going on now. Derek said he sent me a picture, but I'm not getting that picture either. I don't have any pictures coming in. I know Doyle had sent one and Derek did, but they're not coming in. They'll probably show up later tonight. That's how it works. Leonard says casters cost $350. Yeah, not cheap. Roger, I'm a machinist, so I want all three. Yeah, I mean, bring all three. Roger can have the lathe and the mill. I'll take the plasma table. Dave Britt, not sure if you knew this, but you can't get anything heavy from Amazon here in Canada. Most everything can be lifted by one guy. That I did not know. Charles, if Redline has it in stock here, I could pick it up and bring it up. Well, I mean, that might be what we end up doing. Okay, so there, Derek showed up with his picture showed up. Let me see if I can get that to come up. Give me just 1 second. It's kind of chugging along tonight. So this is a rotisserie that Derek is using. Yeah, that's very similar to what the Redline looks like, honestly. Very similar. Voice is starting to get rough. I can feel it. And Russ. Okay, so yeah, that's the same one. That's the same one. Russ had sent me the. What? Why can't I? Wait a minute. Let me see if I can pull that up. So I think this is the same one that we were looking at online. The red line, $12.75, and it says free shipping, but that's to a business that has a forklift. So that much I can tell you. I already looked at that. Derek says, Marketplace, I'm sure people have used them, then want to move on. I've been looking on Marketplace. I saw one pop up. They wanted $1,000 for it, and it looked like half of it was missing, from what I could tell. I was like, the pictures are terrible. I said, I'm not even going to look at that thing. Okay, so Russ did, yeah, I got your eBay ad pictures. Robert, if I need rotisserie again, I'd like that red line one. Mine worked fine, but I didn't make a good lock to keep it from spinning. Yeah, yours rotates really easily from what I could see in your videos. Derek says, yep, same one, lots of assembly. I'm okay with assembly. I'm pretty good at putting things together. So, and it's got those little foot props on it. I may look at that ad on, look at it on eBay just to see, but I'm confident they're going to say, you have to have a forklift. Rusty, I sent it to a nearby business and had them put it on my trailer. Yeah, I don't know anybody that's got locally that has a forklift that would be willing to help me out. I don't know. I'd have to do a little more research locally. It sure saved my back. Yeah, I'm sure. Robert, putting it together is most of the fun. Yes, it is. And Derek says it moved well with those wheels, even on gravel. Okay. I would not even try to move something on gravel, but yeah. Yeah, because I know that this one has good sized wheels as well. Okay. Of course, I don't have any gravel to deal with where I'm at the moment, thankfully. Richard, storage of rotisserie would be an issue for me. My 2-car garage is tiny. Well, that's why my frame jig is a boat trailer. So I can tow it out of here and put it behind the garage. If I was smart, I could take the rotisserie and put it on top of the boat jig and take it all outside at one time and have it out back somewhere so it's out of the way. That's not a bad idea at all. Not a bad idea at all. Yeah, I'll do some more research. Yeah, Robert says storage room. What's that? Yeah. I'll do some more research on it. Again, I'll contact the guy locally who has one and see what the status is and whether it's even something I'd be interested in. So I'll have to, we'll figure something out. Definitely figure something out. They also have those ones. It's not a bad design. I don't know if you've ever seen those. They're called roller hoops. Those are pretty cool. I think it's called roller hoop or something like that. And basically it's a ring that you bolt around the car, and it has roller wheels that mount to or sit on the floor on a track, and you can just take the whole thing and rotate it around with this big roller. It's pretty cool design, but I have not really researched them very much. But I've seen them, and there's videos out there, roller hoop. Just a really, really smart design. Richard, that was a great idea, Barry. Who would have thought of using a boat trailer? Me. Thanks. That is, I've said it. I think I've said it before. I've had that design idea for quite a few years. I did, and I kept putting it off and thinking, I don't know if I can do it. And then when this trailer popped up, the price was right. I mean, I bought this trailer with a boat on it. The boat was junk, but I boat and trailer for $200. And I know if you went and bought this trailer by itself, this is a Four Winds trailer. It's probably over $1,000 anyway. It'd have to be if you try to replace this thing. But when the price popped up, and I was like, that looks like it would work. And I had the guy take some measurements for me before I even went and looked at it, and I was like, yep, this is the answer. This is the answer. Derek, got to go. Nice catching up. Stay well, Barry. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Derek. Glad you're here. Jerry is checking in. Hi, Barry. How do y'all? Can't talk. I'm flying. Have a good stream. Go Buckeyes. Okay. I'll still give you a bell for being here. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, okay. This is the other thing I was going to tell you about. And this is completely off, way off tangent, but I want to share this with you. I'm going from personal experience here. Okay. I am always on the floor, like whether I'm welding, doing a brake service, but kneeling down, all that stuff. I can tell you that I have arthritis in my ankles. I have arthritis in my knees, and it never seems to get any better, right? And I'm going to tell you this. You're all going to. I want you all to just kind of research it on your own and look it up. I saw this homeopathic treatment because all of us are getting older, right? And there's a lot of us. We're in a similar age bracket. Some are a little older, some are a little younger, but I was having trouble, a real struggle getting up and down. And so look up, this is your homework, look up golden raisins and gin. Look up golden raisins and gin. Look it up. I saw that video last Friday, a week ago, and I thought, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I'm going to try it. And essentially what you do is you take golden raisins, you put them in a pie pan, like the glass pie pan or whatever, and you get gin. And in this case, it was Bombay gin. It has to be made with juniper, which I think they all are, about a $20 bottle. And you cover those raisins, you let them soak and let the gin evaporate off of it. And then you're supposed to eat 7 to 9 raisins a day after they've dried out for like 10 to 14 days. Let me tell you, I am not making this up. I went 5 days. I didn't even wait till the full time period. I started eating those things, and I cannot tell you how good my knees feel. I'm being 100%. I have nothing to gain by telling you this, other than looking like a fool talking about food and raisins and gin here on my live stream. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. You have to. If you're having trouble with arthritis and you have knee problems like that, look that stuff up. I'm telling you, it made a world of difference with how my knees feel and even other parts, ankles a little bit, all that stuff. So do yourself a favor and just look it up. That's all I can say. For basically less than $30, I'll probably be, if this continues to do what it's doing, I may just keep doing. I'll eat them the rest of my life. That's how much I am improved from what I was. Faith followers, night all. Have a great week. Glad you're here, Robert. The lift supplier here will deliver for free to the residential via Liftgate, but I prefer the red line one over it though. Okay. Jerry says I'm actually getting younger. Okay, gotta go. Okay. Dave Britton, if you have enough golden raisins and gin, you won't feel the pain of arthritis. Forget the raisins and just go for the gin. Yeah, well, you could do that too. But I'm just telling you, you look it up and try it. If it doesn't work for you, something's wrong, because I've been turning on people to all my friends. I'm trying to let everybody know. Look it up. Do some research on it. So Richard says gin makes everything better. Yeah. Troy says vodka and watermelon works too. Okay. I don't know how That doesn't seem quite the same. Richard says, LOL, Dave. And Rusty says, I will give it a try. Yeah, give it a try. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Roger says, I'll say that difference is visible. Yes, he has seen me doing stuff and getting down on the floor, trying to get up and grunting and groaning. And I demonstrated to him how much better I could move. And he was surprised. Dave Britton, I will look it up, really feeling it anymore. Yeah. Give it a shot. I mean, for less than $30, it's worth a chance to see if it'll work for you. And Robert says, I want something to help my back. Yeah, well, it might. It's supposed to help reduce inflammation. Something about the sulfur in the raisins and the juniper berries together do some voodoo stuff in you and makes you feel better. And I'm serious. I'm serious. Give it a shot. So, anyway, that's the end of my night. My my voice is done, and I need to move on. So stay tuned for the. Oh wait, Richard says, won't I be too plastered to work on my car? No, you actually evaporate the gin off. You don't even taste it. It evaporates off. Don't even know it's there. But I'll be working on the next video. Obviously, trying to get his stuff together. And I've been posting on Facebook. I've been posting pictures, obviously, of the work that I'm doing. But I've also been posting reels, like Instagram reels. And everybody seems to be enjoying that. So I'm probably going to continue to do that sort of thing. So if you're on there, keep your eye out for it. But that'll be it for tonight. Again, thanks, everybody, for being here. I plan to be back next Monday again at 7 o'clock. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.